and welcome back to the Broke Show. It's been a little while since we've been about. That's because of reasons. You're just gonna have to live with that. So on tonight's show we have Daniel Thomas Patch,
Hello.
Alex Heath,
Hi, Mum.
James Kay,
Buenos noches.
AV trained actor Elijah Khan,
How are you doing? All right?
Mike Peploe,
What's up?
Joe Yussuff,
Hi, Alex's mum.
and the final guest in the room tonight. We're recording on Zoom on a video call. This guest does not have a webcam, so if you can't hear him, it's because he doesn't have a webcam.
Yeah.
It's Harry White.
Hey guys.
Harry, do you
Yeah.
have a webcam? Can
I
just
haven't got
clarify?
a webcam.
Huh? Interesting.
His mum say they're naughty, so he doesn't let him have one.
Joe, do I have a webcam, mate? No, I don't, do I?
I recorded that, so I'm definitely going to edit in the bloopers at the end.
I'll send the video of my face just dropping and closing the call. All that's going in my head at the moment is I've got to go and work in a fucking assembly line tomorrow. The more we do this, the more tired I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And now I'm talking even more than I have to, which makes no sense. So this podcast originally began through a mutual love of football. I wasn't part of the podcast back then, but like a viral infection, to make it topical, I weaseled my way in and I took over the podcast. Oh, that was the worst analogy.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of
You wrote that down.
I was trying to think of the word parasite, but I couldn't think of it. So
I've never heard a virus described as weaseling.
no, that
Why not just infecting? You just infected the whole group. Like that's what a virus does. It doesn't weasel its way anything.
I was trying to think of the word parasite, but I couldn't.
COVID kind of just going. I'm just going to get in here, lads. Just move over a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Through a mutual love of football, particularly the past 2 decades of football, and even more specifically, the past 2 decades of Premier League football. We've seen Torres doing bits of Chelsea, of course, doing bits at Chelsea. He cost them £50 million. Would anyone like to hazard a guess how many goals he scored?
12.
Probably
more than 12.
about 50 million
21?
as well.
21.
Oh, Joe's the closest. It was 20 goals.
20 goals.
In 110 appearances.
Hey.
£50 million. Do you know what that works out?
That's like almost
2.5
million a goal.
2.5 million per goal he cost Chelsea.
One of them got us a Champions League.
Was it
final.
worth it?
Yeah.
The goal
Oh
against
my God.
Barcelona was
So-
worth 50 mil.
So suck your
I
mum,
mean,
yeah?
Not even that. Just that goal got us the Gary
Harry's
Neville orgasm.
George, I'm
Fair
going to
enough.
call you out on bringing up a fucking Chelsea fact with all these Chelsea fucking fans in here.
It's okay. We've got other facts.
What do you mean, Chelsea fan? I am internazionale. Conte.
Not only did we see Torres doing bits of Chelsea, it was a fact that was meant to slate Chelsea because they spent 2.5 million per goal, and they're still trying to justify that because of one goal.
It was justified.
It was
No.
a goal.
It was
We also
justified.
saw Sol Campbell, a man like Sol, cross North London and do bits for Arsenal, of course. And we saw the self-proclaimed god, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, was a self-proclaimed god, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Those are just some highlights from the past 20 years of football in the top league of British football. I'll say football once more, football. A little segue into the episode. That's what today's all about. We're trying to look at not necessarily the best players, but the best teams of the 21st century in the Premier League. Each person's going to get about 5 minutes to put their case forward for their team. At the end, myself as the referee will decide who is the top team of the 21st century in the Premier League. Definitively, I'm going to say my opinion matters the most. So anyone that disagrees is wrong. And we start with Joe. Joe, would you like to introduce which team you have from the past 20 years of top flight English football?
I will. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you again. My friends of ours. Lovely. Thank you very much. So yeah, my my team that I will be speaking about is, of course, the mighty might. I don't like saying mighty.
He says in a Chelsea shirt.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt him the most.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, it's got to be done. We did it randomly.
Oh yeah. Before we start, all the teams we decided on teams that we thought were best, and they were assigned to people randomly. These people haven't chosen the team they're putting forward.
No, they didn't.
It's completely random. So Joe's wearing a Chelsea shirt. That doesn't mean he's going to be putting forward a top Chelsea team.
No, it doesn't.
Joe, continue
It just means that I love Chelsea Football Club. Not so much lately. So the team that I have been assigned is Arsenal. Not just any Arsenal team, but the Arsenal team of 03-04, more commonly known as the Invincibles. Now, I'm not going to need 5 minutes to argue why this is probably the greatest Premier League of all time. Many goals, lots of draws, but let's not talk about that. But there's a thing about mentality in football. You know, anyone can go, you know, win 20 games in a row, but who can get to the end of 38 games not having lost a single one? None of your other teams can say that. So I would like to put forward the fact that this Arsenal team of 03-04 is the best team that we've seen in the Premier League. Also, the trophy was gold.
That is a point in their favour.
The trophy was gold and time. I think that was 58 seconds. 58 seconds. 4 minutes and 2 seconds for any questions. So,
my first question is, how little research did you put into that?
Listen, I've been researching this since next question.
Since 03-04, yeah.
Since 03-04, I was prepared.
So Joe, just to summarise your key points for Arsenal's Invincibles, they won a lot, they never lost, and they had a gold trophy. It's those 3 points is what you're basing your argument on.
Mainly this one though. Mainly the gold trophy.
Mainly the gold trophy.
Because that and having never lost, and obviously having a cool nickname like the Invincibles. No one else got that. No one else got that. So feel free to argue amongst yourself. But I declare myself the winner.
Can I ask that? Do you think the Premier League back then was probably less competitive than the Premier League today? Being the fact that the amount of teams that are challenging at the moment to get to that point are
two. There's two of them right now.
At the moment, yeah.
No, I don't want to defend the Arsenal Invincibles, but he's not done a very good job. Come on.
But do you think the Arsenal Invincibles could go against the teams like the City and the Liverpool of today and still?
Well, it's always very difficult to say whether one team from 20 years ago could go against a team now because of like fitness issues and things like that. It's very difficult to argue those facts. All we can argue is who was the best in their day, and the best in their day was undoubtedly Arsenal. Not only did they obviously win the Premier League. Weeks beforehand, but also they got to the semi-final of both the fucking Champions League and the FA Cup and the League Cup.
So they got to the semis though. Did they win any other major competition in that season? I
don't think there's any. Okay, that's a point. That's a point. We're talking about the Premier League, but over 38 games, you struggle. Go on, Alex.
I've got a question. How many goals did these Invincibles score? You know, what was their time? How many goals?
You man think that I ain't done my research, yeah?
I would just like to know that I'm.
How many goals did Invincibles score?
I can tell you.
Harry doesn't have a webcam.
I can tell you two things. One, obviously, Harry doesn't have a webcam. Two, that the Invincibles managed a healthy 73 goals. But this is where we're talking about the Invincibles. They're solid back four. Martin Keown. What was that other guy's name?
I don't know. You tell us.
Yeah. The other guy who played with Martin Keown.
Freddie Lundberg.
Freddie Lundberg was about somewhere. Robert Perez was there.
Definitely not defenders.
Henry was there.
Okay.
Freddie Lundberg was fucking banging.
They only conceded 26 goals all season.
All vital members of the solid back line you mentioned.
Yeah.
Freddie Lundberg.
That back four.
Yes.
Lundberg in
Robert
goal.
Pires.
You ever heard of defending from the front? You ever heard of defending
The best defense is a good offense.
Oh, a great and bountiful leader. Obi-Wan Kenobi said that.
Well, I can tell you that they scored the most and conceded the least goals that season. So, obviously deserve the champions, but I think there's not really much argument that you can say that they're not the greatest team of all time, simply because they didn't lose a single game. And no matter how great all your other teams are, obviously Chelsea are the greatest, but out of all those teams, they've all lost.
He did draw a lot, though.
Understood, but there's
and to only score 73 goals.
It's not.
But there's a mentality difference. They scored the most goals in the league, outscored everyone else. So I don't really know what
of that season.
How many
of just that?
How many of those Arsenal team players would make the Chelsea's team today, or Chelsea's team under Antonio Conte in 16?
None, because they're all retired.
Yeah,
that's such an irrelevant question.
If you're gonna compare those players to Chelsea players, you can compare them to the maybe 04, 05 Chelsea players and say how many of the Invincibles would have got into that squad. Quite a few, I imagine. Obviously,
let's leave the 04, 05 Chelsea out.
Number one,
All
Ashley
right.
Cole was the left back for the Invincibles. Obviously, he went to Chelsea the season after. Boom, boom, boom. I was done at 58 seconds. I was done at
That's good. Speaking of which, that has been about 5 minutes. Joe, are you happy with the case you put forward?
Gold trophy. Suck my testicle, bro.
Beautiful. Does anyone have one last question for Joe at all, or a point to make?
No.
Wunderbar. So our next contender is Mr. Harry White. Harry, if you'd like to introduce.
Can you allow me to screen share?
Yeah, share your screen.
No, it says host disabled participant screen share.
So, who's webcam?
I think you just have to click on his name, George, and then
Let me
little
screen
dots,
share.
and it'll give you the option.
And this is the well-oiled machine of
This
the
is the
show
well-oiled
on
machine.
Zoom.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
Why you're here? You're here for all the kinks.
I'm really excited for PowerPoint.
They're being worked out live.
Lower your expectations.
What's your dog called, Dan?
It says everyone can share it. PowerPoint.
I got PowerPoint.
Harry, for the people listening at home, if you'd like to introduce your team.
So I got this season's Liverpool team.
You've definitely just fucked up the recording somehow. But anyway, carry on.
Okay,
It's still recording on mine.
It's still recording on mine as well. Liverpool 1920 are the best team the Prem has ever seen. Welcome to my TED Talks. Questions at the end, please. At the end, please.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, cool. Right. Let's move on. Let's click the little button. Some amazing stats. They won the league. They won.
Yeah.
So far, they've won 29, drawn twice, and lost twice. That's the win percentage of 90%, 90.625%. Amazing. One of the quickest teams to win the league. That's pretty impressive.
Actually, they won it in June, so it's quite slow. But anyway.
Well, no. right. Okay, per game. Questions at the end. Questions at the end. God damn it. They didn't bottle anything else except to win the league, except for the League Cup, FA Cup, Champions League.
Small font, love it.
Best start to the season ever by any club in top 5 European leagues. Amazing stuff. Some other facts. They have a points per game of roughly 2.7 per game, having dropped 10 points out of a possible 99. That maths is right because I worked it out just before. Magnificent.
Beautiful.
In the PowerPoints, it could be wrong though.
Yeah, but I worked it out again and it was right.
I go by the PowerPoint.
They won the league without strengthening their squad in the transfer windows. Great work. And if you tell me that Minamino is strengthening their squad, fuck off. They made a profit so far of 37.65 million in the transfer window this
Beautiful.
Savvy.
There's so many exclamation marks.
Isn't it? I was going to say that, but I was going to wait till the end. There's
questions at the end.
Yeah, let Harry continue.
Some cool opinion.
3 minutes.
I like the shade of red they use. Andy Robertson excels at shithousery, deep fried pizzas. Klopp's quality man management has made Hendo look good. Amazing.
Elijah is boiling.
Their fans weren't wrong to trash Liverpool and shoot fireworks at the Liver building. They were just excited. This squad ended 30 years of hurt. Sheffield United's 122 years of hurt can do one. If you don't compare them to any competent winning teams, it's a no-brainer. Stop looking at the Invincibles or Man City of last year, or even the triple winning United team, or even Mourinho's Chelsea. Who needs those teams when Liverpool have won it and with such style? Don't even look at the stats from last year. Who needs silly stats like that? Don't bring them up. I will end your existence, you bunch of motherfucking useless cunts. After all, they won nothing. Losers. Thank you. No further questions. TED Talks! And that's my PowerPoint on
No further.
That was beautiful.
Liverpool 1920.
I have a question already, Harry.
I have
No questions. No questions.
No questions. All right.
No,
Harry, I do. As referee, I'm going to allow questions.
Okay.
To start with one question.
Okay.
Yes, they won the league in a record number of games.
Yeah.
The points per game higher than Arsenal's Invincibles.
Yeah.
Really good team, but are they tactically versatile?
No, but they don't need to be. That's how good they are.
It's against Man City that they need to be, and against Watford.
2 times out of 33.
How can you say a team who's won the Premier League?
Mute him. What was that?
I'm confused. Was he arguing against
he was
or was he defending them?
I'm muting him. No,
Elijah, I'll unmute you, but you have another team to put forward. So
yes, you can't argue this team. Joe did a fantastic job, even though he's wearing Chelsea's colours. You need to shut up and do your team.
Elijah, what were you going to say about this wonderful Liverpool team?
No, I was just going to ask, from a neutral standpoint, that
yes.
Winning the Premier League takes a lot of tactical agility. A lot of people would say, like, there's a lot of different teams in the league battling for relegation, battling for the Premiership as well. And also, Liverpool were in many different competitions at the same time. So you would need a degree of agility and awareness to actually beat teams week in, week out with such a packed schedule.
They put 3-year-olds into other competitions.
Let me just argue. This is my team. I totally agree. So, yeah.
Okay, Harry, respond, and then James has his hand up.
Well, I would agree, except for the fact that they bottled every single other thing. But apart from that, you're totally right.
What is happening? Harry, you're supposed to be defending this team.
And they are the best team. They are the best team that the Prem has ever seen. I'm defending it.
Okay,
James.
Harry, you've responded. James K?
Amazing.
Didn't they lose 4-0 on Wednesday?
Joe, next question.
They'd already won the title. Why do they care what happens after they win it?
Yeah, my next thing was just to reiterate the fact and just give some details. They got beat up by Atletico Madrid in the Champions League round of 16.
Yeah.
They got beat up by Ross Barkley and their man in the fucking third round of the FA Cup.
Don't forget Billy Gilmore.
I can't remember who knocked them out of the League Cup.
We did 5-0. Villa did 5-0.
Oh shit!
Don't talk shit, bro. How is that relevant to the Premier League?
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
I was going to answer with that. None of that's relevant to the Premier League. We're talking about the best Premier League team.
So didn't they lose 3-0 to Watford before they actually won the league, though?
Yeah. That's a good point. So
yeah, that is a good point.
Has one loss disqualified them?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, compared to the Invincibles,
why is Dan defending and not me?
So, hang on, no, but like,
why is Dan defending and not me?
Every team we're bringing forward here has a chance. If it's who's lost the least, then the Invincibles win, and that's
that is a good point. It's
not the podcast.
Despite the fact that Liverpool lost, they have unarguably had one of the greatest seasons of a team.
Why is Dan defending instead of me?
Many people were saying that Liverpool's team was the greatest team the Premier League has ever seen. Would the Watford loss really change things so much that it makes Liverpool?
If you won that game, if you won that game for sure, it would have meant that you were greater.
You've got to remember that the season's not even over yet. They could easily have the record points.
They've won 29 games. They've won in the Premier League.
They need 12 out of the
still
next.
What? 5 left? 6
12?
left?
12
I thought this was
12
meant to be a
after
debate, and yet we all seem to be arguing on side of this Liverpool team.
Yeah,
fuck them, they're shit.
They never change up their front three. They're not tactically agile at all. They have the same format to every game. And when that gets undermined, they fall to pieces, as was seen in their 5-0 defeat to Villa, their defeat to Watford, their defeat to City.
Wow. Yeah.
When was the last time Firmino scored at Anfield as well?
Harry?
I don't know. I'm not defending right now, apparently. No, everyone else is defending for me. So
May last year, I think.
Oh,
Big
cool.
Liverpool fan, Harry White.
Something like that.
Every team has good things about
Yeah,
them.
we're not talking about individual players either.
And...
We're not talking about individual players either. We're talking about
we are going to talk about individual players. We are going to talk about individual players. You wait.
So Dan is going to talk about individual players.
Oh, just you wait.
Shall we move on?
If all the teams
move on.
Harry, sorry, Elijah, go on.
If all the teams that we're all discussing were in a hypothetical league of their own, with all the
Premier
games
League
finished, and COVID-19 had to end the season early, and the team had to be given the Premier League on points per game, who would get the trophy? Would it be Arsenal's Invincibles, the City team, or the Liverpool team from this season? That is the question.
This is a massive hypothetical that literally does not matter. However, I will use that as my argument, and he's totally right. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that happened.
Harry White has made some fantastic points.
Thanks. Yeah,
and I'm giving him a bonus point.
I'm going to comment on that and bring up the team. Just briefly bring up the team that I'll be talking about. Liverpool have lost 2. The team I'm going to be talking about have also only lost 2. And this Liverpool,
it's all about draws and wins, though, with points per game.
Yeah, they drew 4, but as you said, the Liverpool season's not over yet. So you can't argue that the season isn't over in favour of Liverpool if you can't then argue it against them as well.
The next 5 games.
Points per game doesn't matter how many games have been played. Points per game is done based on how many points per game you've won. So it doesn't matter if they play 30 games or 78 games.
But then there's no point of having a league if they decide, let's do 3 games and decide on that. And it didn't happen. Coronavirus didn't stop.
Yeah, let's not argue hypothetics. It's bullshit. Move on.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Harry?
I'm sorry I've brought up such a shit point.
Harry, any more points to put forward?
Apparently not. Anyone else got any points to defend this Liverpool team?
No one has.
You don't have a webcam.
Thank you.
Team number 3.
I haven't got a webcam.
Team number 3. Let's go.
On to number 3. We have Elijah Khan.
Oh, God.
Elijah?
Oh
boy.
Okay, so I'm doing a team I'm really passionate about. Chelsea.
Yeah.
One of the greatest seasons they've had. They finished the season with 93 points, 85 goals scored. He got them 2 trophies in 2 seasons. And he's revolutionized the Premier League with his iconic 3-4-3 formations. He gave young players like Hudson-Odoi, Carl Scott, Charlie Musonda, Dujon Sterling, Ola Aina, all their debuts, and he gave time to Chalobah and Christensen, which is something Chelsea's not known for, giving time to their academy players. And he came in and he changed things up like that. But the most important thing is he injected almost like a Klopp-like exuberance into the Chelsea team. You know, he would celebrate with the fans nearly after every game they won, which only Jurgen Klopp was known for, that kind of...
Yeah, because no manager's ever celebrated with the fans before.
Yeah.
Well, Chelsea wasn't known for a club that has a lot...
Mourinho threw his fucking medals to the fans and his overcoat.
Oh my God. Hold on a second.
Sorry, go on, Elijah, sorry.
Hold on a second. So, Chelsea wasn't known for a club with a lot of passion at the time. And he came in and he really, shook things up and he put that passion into the team, which was otherwise a bit of a soulless, dry club before him. To be fair, from where I stand,
you stand as a Liverpool fan who's never been to a game, who hasn't experienced it.
Mike, let him finish.
Let him carry on, Elijah.
Yeah. So I don't hate Chelsea. I think very sustainably. When I saw Antonio Conte leave, I thought it was disgraceful, especially considering everything he had done for the club. Right from the start, he came in and the derby games were mad. He had a crazy game against West Ham. He was passionate. He lost to Arsenal 3-0 and they didn't implement his play style. But he had a tactical agility to shake things up, which other managers didn't, like Jurgen Klopp this season. Unfortunately, they went on an amazing run of 6 clean sheets and 13 wins, and he transformed Kante, I think, into a much better player than he was back when he was in Leicester. And he even commented that he improved Kante from just being the type of player he is to somebody who can pass the ball better and bomb up the pitch much more. I don't know. I think the final game against West Brom really showed his masterclass and you know how much of a manager he is like Jurgen Klopp, but maybe not at that level just yet.
Did we lose it then?
No,
that's what we won.
They won the Premier League. So it was the last game. Tottenham had just it was them against Tottenham. Tottenham finished on 88 points, 86 points or something, and he subbed on Batshuayi late on when he had a front three of Willian, Hazard, and Costa, who was already cemented, and he subbed on Batshuayi, and Batshuayi he scored. He scored
Somehow.
He
Amazing.
did.
Big decisions from Conte.
Looked at the game, saw what he did.
That's why I think that Chelsea Conte was the greatest team ever to grace the Premier League.
Conte's Chelsea.
Conte's Chelsea. Chelsea's Conte. Either way.
Chelsea's Conte.
I believe James K has a question.
I'd just like to get in there before these Chelsea fans fucking have at you.
Yeah, for Chelsea fans.
I completely agree with you that Chelsea sacking Conte was a disgrace. I completely 100% agree with you. I think that was a bullshit decision. He's a fantastic manager who got mistreated by that club. Mistreated by that club completely. That's all I want to say. Chelsea fans, go for it.
Wait. Complete fair play to Elijah, because I honestly thought coming in you were going to do something similar to Harry did, which I liked, but I would have expected it from Elijah. But I think you've done a lot of research, shown a lot of respect for Chelsea. Joe, Harry, Mike, and Alex were having a lot of issues with your audio, so I don't think we'll be able to take any questions from you. You talk about Conte transforming players, bringing players up. You mentioned Batshuayi, and but isn't that a job of a manager? It's to be expected that they transform players and they bring players up, even from the academy or from another club, and they make them better. That's kind of what a manager's point is, to make players play better together.
100% agree. But Chelsea wasn't known for a club which makes their youth players do anything. They just send them out on loan. I think Chelsea had like the most players out on loan ever, and they just brought players in, destroy their careers, and send them out again. While their youth players were like on the fringes in some Dutch league or something. And he like I just said, Hudson-Odoi, Anya, Carl Scott, Visonda, Dujon Sterling, Chaloba, Christian, all these players. Batshuayi, he gave them chances, and now they're all flourishing years after Conte's left his mark.
So you still see that impact that he's had on them as players.
For sure. And I just want to say, I think him driving Costa out was a big reason that he got sacked. Now, he won 2 trophies in 2 seasons. Like, what more can you ask for? Obviously, you can win trebles and stuff, but like he did a really good job. But Costa wanted out every single season. So
I'm going to go for Mike because I think his fingers might drop off if he keeps his hand up pretty longer.
He sacked him by text.
So I agree with Elijah and James saying that it was a disgrace for Chelsea to sack Conte, but there is a bigger disgrace than Chelsea sacking Conte. There is a bigger disgrace than that, and that is to do with my team, which I will come to later.
Amazing.
That cheers for speaking. That added lots.
You've just Kanye Wested Elijah Taylor Swift there, mate.
I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it.
Oh no, that's going to be an amazing callback when Mike gets to make his debate. You were like, as I was saying to Elijah, I am.
Nice. Joe has his hand up.
I agree.
Can say something later as well? Or?
Yes. I mean, I can say something now if you want, or I can wait till later. I'm gonna say it now. Conte's Chelsea were great. Obviously, getting players and making them better was something that he did. Yeah, it was a disgrace that we sacked him, but obviously it wasn't on the fans. The fans didn't drive him out. The fans loved Conte, and in terms of that, Chelsea have got really high standards. 20 years in terms of odd years of Premier League football, we've won a trophy like pretty much every year. I think it's like 16 out of the 20 years we've won at least one trophy. So we've got really high standards for managers. And also, just real quick, out of all those youth players that you thought should have been playing 4, 5, 6 years ago, how many of them are playing well now and doing things?
Oh, for fuck's sakes, that was my point.
Thunder ain't doing shit now.
Harry, you should have put your hand up.
Sterling ain't doing shit now. All these men that Conte started, fair. Batshuayi's fucking wank. He can't even get into our team now.
But do they have to be doing good now for them to have been great players then?
They weren't
great players is a question.
Batshuayi won Chelsea the league in that season. So I mean, he gave a youth player a chance and he won them the league. while previous managers would not even have played.
Peploe was a youth player.
That's like saying Willian won the league for Liverpool this season, which he did.
He did. Factually correct.
Oh my god!
It's really easy to play. It's really easy to play a youth player in the in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup third round. How many of those players played in the Premier League starting games, Elijah? Out of all the ones you've named, how many of them started and played in the Premier League?
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, for us, the Premier League is the best league, but they might not be playing in the Premier League, but they might be playing in other leagues, and you don't have to be playing in the top leagues to be a top player.
Yeah, so, out of those players, who's playing well in the top league right now?
Hudson-Odoi.
Ola Aina.
Yeah, Ola Aina.
He's at Torino. He's at Torino in Italy. Yeah. If you're saying he's the best team that probably comes maybe in the top 10 of Italian football, is that Chelsea standards?
He's got top 3 dribbles in the entire of the Serie A.
We've got a buyback clause. Just saying, we've got a buyback clause.
Well, good points, James.
Dujon Sterling is actually still at Chelsea, and he's on loan to Premier League or Championship teams. So he's doing decent. If you consider people playing week in, week out for Man City or Barcelona, of course, yeah, he hasn't created that, but he's giving players chances who are actually doing things with their career at the moment.
Played 8 times at Wigan last season.
Come on,
good
Dujon Sterling.
James had his hand up for a little while.
I just feel like Chelsea fans should be very careful when they say these players have done nothing, considering the amount of talent they've let go in the past, saying they've done nothing, and then it's come back to bite them horrendously in the future.
No, one's denying it, but we're not the only club that has been in that situation. There's been many clubs who've let really good players go.
I'd say you're the most prominent.
100% the most
Not only
prominent.
that, but taken really good players and
destroyed their careers.
Paid them £2.5 million per goal.
Can I just make the point here that we're discussing Conte's Chelsea and his youth rather
we
than
have got
somebody
sidetracked.
else's,
We have got sidetracked.
rather than the others. Yes, we've let go of some amazing talent. Like look at what happened with Salah when he went to Roma.
KDB.
Like, amazing. The best thing he did was go to Roma. The best thing that KDB did was go to Germany. But none of those played under Conte. We're looking at Conte's youth and who he's brought through, and those players aren't amazing. Yes, there's some. Don't get me wrong. There's some real special ones in there. Like Oli Aina looks like he's playing amazingly out there, right? And Hudson-Odoi is clearly getting himself slowly into that starting 11. But the majority of the players that he brought in haven't cut the mustard.
The KDB and obviously the Salah and the Lukaku, they weren't part of our youth team though. We actually brought them in. So
should we go to the
Elijah, was there anything else that you didn't cover that you wanted to bring up a quick point now, or you have?
No, I think we have majority consensus that Chelsea, Conte's Chelsea was the best Premier League team.
Of course.
Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Any more questions or clarifications anyone wants from Elijah?
I'm happy to move on.
Wunderbar. Up next, we have Daniel Patch.
Okay, boys, get ready for the Chelsea loving to continue, because I have also got a Chelsea team, but I haven't got the mediocre Conte era Chelsea team. No. I've got the best Chelsea team there has ever been, and arguably the best team the Premier League has ever seen. I have got Mourinho's Chelsea from 2004-2005. Now, let me start by throwing a few statistics out there at you, okay? Now, position. Obviously, they finished first. I don't think you can be considered the best team without winning the league, realistically. Now, they finished on a then record of 95 points, which was beating out United from 93-94, who finished with 92. And it wasn't beaten until 11 years later by Man City when they got their 100 points.
Stepping on my toes.
I'm just saying, they're the only team recently that has got more points than them. So only 3 teams in Premier League history have finished with more points than this Chelsea team, which is Man City, 17-18, 100 points. And then Man City and Liverpool in 18-19 finished on 98 and 97, respectively. But the thing that sets this Chelsea team aside from all those teams, great teams, but it's the amount of goals they conceded. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the famous saying from the legendary American football coach Paul Bryant, which is offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. Now, Chelsea in the 2004-2005 season conceded 15 goals in the entire 38-game season. Now, to give you a bit of an insight, that is 0.4 goals against per game. So they were conceding less than half a goal every single game. On top of that, they managed to score 75 goals. So that is a 1.9 goals per game for, which is more than the team that they were fighting it out for the title, which was Arsenal's Invincibles, of course, from the season before, that Joe so eloquently defended earlier. But I will put it to you that, it's all well and good, drawing your way to a gold Premier League trophy. But Chelsea only got 8 draws. They got 4 less draws than that Invincibles team. And it only took 1 goal to stop Chelsea from equaling that record of the Invincible, which was when they lost the only game they lost all season. 1 game, which was 1-0 to Manchester City. Now, this was Mourinho's first season in the Prem. So, managers, when they first join a club, you'd think they might have a little bit of a settling in period. Absolutely not. Mourinho smashed it, getting his team to the heights that I have described. And he also won Manager of the Year in that season. Not only that, there were also some other individual awards won in that season by their players. You had Petr Cech, who is the best goalkeeper of the Premier League era. He played for that team and he won the Golden Glove. You had the best centre-back of the Premier League era in John Terry. He won the PFA Player of the Year. You had the best left-back of the Premier League era in Ashley Cole. Having just moved over from the Arsenal Invincibles, he then almost replicated that same thing, but he also exceeded that by scoring more points, winning more games.
No.
Scoring more points, winning more games. Look, we can debate in a minute, all right? It's cool. He factually won more games and scored more points with Chelsea than Arsenal.
Chelsea player then.
He was, thank you very much.
He
What are you
wasn't.
talking about? Yes, he was.
0405. Bruv, I'm a Chelsea fan. He didn't go there in 0405.
Well, the research I did had him as part of this team, so I included him. We can take him out. That's fine. We can move on.
It's because we won the league the year after as well. That's why.
We can move on to the best centre mid of all time. The best centre mid of all time is Frank Lampard. And he won both the Football Writers Player of the Year and the Premier League Player of the Season, scoring
1 minute now.
13 goals and assisting 16. You also had Didier Drogba up top, legendary Premier League striker. You also had a man like Claude Makelele, who was so good, he had a fucking position named after him. Makelele walked so that Kante could run.
Shit on FIFA.
Anyone who praises what Kante does at the minute, which should be fucking everyone, because he's the best defensive midfielder in the world at the minute, needs to acknowledge that Makelele was doing everything he was, but back in an earlier time when it was a lot harder to run as hard and as fast due to the fitness regimes and all that shenanigans.
William Gallas was our defender at that point, not Ashley Cole. But apart from that, I loved your compelling argument.
Sure. I'm not done, but we'll go on.
Carry on, please.
Go real quick. I've got what? A minute? I've got a minute. Let's quickly run through some tactics. Yeah, we're talking about tactical versatility. Mourinho came in and he shifted the narrative in the Premier League. Up until this point, the Premier League was a 4-4-2 league. Everyone played 4-4-2. They had the same tactics and it was down to player-on-player interactions to determine which team was better. Mourinho shifted that up. He brought the 4-4-3, which is a much more common 4-4-3, which is a much.
That's not a formation.
4-3-3.
Yeah, that's 12 players on the pitch.
I've not got long to go. 4-3-3.
We would cheat
an additional player.
Leave him alone, bro. Let him land. Let him land.
4-3-3, right? That absolutely decimated the 4-4-2s of the era, because what that allowed was an overrun in midfield. There were 2 central midfield players on every team to Mourinho's 3, which meant he could create triangles to pass around players left, right and centre. 2 centre-backs and a DM, 2 CMs and a DM. CM, left wing, striker. Triangles all over the fucking pitch, which is what you see in every single team that is successful nowadays, such as Pep's, Man City, Liverpool, Klopp's, Liverpool, whoever the fuck it was. And basically, there was fucking quality over the pitch. They had fucking the best player of all time in the goalkeeper, centre-back, centre-mid positions in the Premier League era. And they conceded 15 goals in the entire season. That is not going to be matched again. That is never going to get beaten. And they only got beaten recently because Man City bought the league.
Beautiful. I'm going to call time on you. That's beautiful. What are your key points was how many points they scored in the season.
Sure.
Does that mean say that the 3 teams that have gone on to score more than them, by your reasoning, better teams?
Not at all, George, because they sacrificed defensive stability for scoring more, which might have nicked them more points.
But you said they're one of the most solid defenses.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. The teams nowadays have sacrificed defensive stability to score more goals. They might have nicked.
I know what you're saying, Dan.
They're only like 3-4 points ahead. They're only like 3-4 points ahead of Chelsea. That's like what, 3 extra draws? Who fucking cares? Yeah. No one has lost. Well, that's not true. Arsenal have lost less, but as I say, the Invincibles fucking
fuck them, bro.
In all these fucking games. All right. Cool. No one has lost less and conceded less than Chelsea in the Premier League era, apart from the Invincibles. Next question, please.
Very well argued, Dan. I'll hand it over to the floor. I'll start with James K.
I took several issues with what you said. We'll start with one. Did you credit Pep Guardiola's formations to Jose Mourinho?
I did not credit Pep Guardiola's formations to Jose Mourinho. I credited the fact that triangles are a necessity in football in the Premier League nowadays.
Right, okay. I agree he might have been one of the first to bring it to the Premier League, but Johan Cruyff was the man who brought that into football. Let's just get that right. And also, did you refer to Frank Lampard as the best centre-mid ever?
In the Premier League.
Right, okay. You missed that.
The Premier League era.
Okay.
I mean, I said it, but then everyone was rushing me and interrupting me when I had a lot of points to make.
I was saying amen. I was saying amen, Dan. That's what I was doing, bro.
Iniesta would fucking beat the shit out of Lampard, but
I'm not 100% sure when Iniesta played in the Premier League, but obviously I missed that.
Also, a key thing was Mourinho shows he had an extra player on the pitch playing.
All right, look.
4-4-3. That's really unfair.
Of course, you're gonna have an advantage.
You limited me to 5 minutes. All right, I had to rush through my fucking notes like that. I missed about 12 points that I wrote down that weren't.
You know what? It's just.
I just pictured Mourinho like shuffling.
It's just worrying about credibility.
Come in a laundry basket. That's what he did.
The kind of credibility of the argument, especially the Ashley Cole fiasco, saying.
All right, listen, the video that I watched,
we worry about the rest of the points in the argument. Are they accurate?
Yeah.
Sure, bro. Sure.
Who's to know?
I would like to throw out there that Frank Lampard being the best, and this is very controversial, me saying this. Frank Lampard being the best centre midfielder is still highly up for debate when we've had players like Scholes and Gerrard and Roy Keane all debated. Vieira, thank you. I did think about him as well, but I forgot to mention him. There's been countless amazing midfielders, and that's not even thinking about the modern ones, the ones that have been in the last decade. Whilst it pains me to say that, it's that is up for discussion.
And yet, only one of those is top of the scoring charts for midfielders.
What about assists?
Up there.
What about chances created?
Ryan Giggs is right up there on assists.
What about tackles made? What about? There's so much more that a midfielder does.
To defend.
But anyway, that's looking at a player rather than the full team. So like,
sure.
Yeah, it's a tough argument there. I
mean, for me, argument is that's there, though. Opinion, I guess. I mean, it's easier to argue than the fact that Ola Aina is the defining youth prospect of our generation.
Also, Terry was a terrible goalie for that goal.
That's such a shout.
Anyway,
Mike had to hand up for a while.
You said that the formation that Chelsea used was a 4-3-3.
Yes.
I actually think it was a 4-2-3-1.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They might have shifted to that, but it was always a 4-3-3 when they lined up.
Mourinho has always used the 4-2-3-1. If you look at his Man United team,
sitting at the base of the midfield, and you had Lampard and whoever the fuck.
You had Lampard. You had Lampard and Makelele as the two centre defensive midfields. Up front in a kind of cam centre mid role was Good Johnson. On the left was Damien Duff. On the right was Ian Robben, and up top was Drogba.
Listen, man, I'm gonna have to link this video.
I'm using that one as well, Alex.
You are taking Alex. You are taking.
Alex has just. For anyone who can't see, Alex has just brought up a formation of the.
So what we've got is you've got Cech in goal, obviously. You got Gallas, Terry, Cavallio, Ferreira, Makelele, Lampard, and then, as Mike said, Good Johnson in the cam role. Yeah, that's exactly what I've got as well.
I'd just like to point out that Chelsea.
Whereas I've got,
I've been using.
Can I just say that I've got here Makelele sitting, Lampard and Cole. I've got a 4-3-3 in front of me and 4-4-5.
Of what I don't know extensive history of Mourinho, but for what I know of Mourinho from 04 Chelsea onwards, is that he has always used the 4-2-3-1 formation, especially at United and even now at Spurs. And he used that at Chelsea as well.
But he certainly used a 4-3-3.
To be fair, it could have just changed. Like,
it might have changed on the pitch, depending on what other people were doing.
He was tactically agile, I think. Is the
tactically agile.
Not many teams are tactically agile, are they?
No,
not a lot of them.
Only the best. Only the best.
Just a really quick before we move on. Was one of your points that Mourinho changing English football should make him, or should make that team one of the best of English or Premier League all time?
My point more with that was that he looked at what English football was at the time. There's 4-4-2s everywhere, and he brought over.
Because I would dare say that Arsene Wenger changed English football more than Mourinho.
He did.
All right, but he still played a 4-4-2.
Yeah, but where's his silverware?
What, Arsene Wenger's? He's got a fucking gold one, mate.
It's gold.
Yeah.
Fucking gold.
One gold one.
He's got a fuck ton of FA Cups as well.
Gold ones.
We're talking about the Premier League.
Nah, it's all teams. Anyway, let's progress.
Yeah. Anyway,
one thing I'd like to say,
point to take away is that defenses win championships, and Chelsea is the best defensive team of the Premier League. So,
apart from when John Terry was in goal.
I mean, that happened once when someone got sent.
Terrible goalie, John Terry.
Very much at centre back throughout the majority of that
season. Shit goalie.
Also, Frank Lampard played every single game that season. That doesn't really affect anything. But,
I have a lot of love for Frank.
There's a point.
To be fair, so do I. I just wanted to bring up some others.
But
anyway, I've been talking.
Got Cannon.
Sorry?
As good as who?
Got Cannon.
Yes, who was better? Who was better than whoever that is?
Just about.
Anyway, yeah, I'm done. So, let's move on. I've made my case, George. I'll let you sit on that and realise how right I am.
I'll mull it over. I've been writing some notes on everyone.
He's such a good boy.
I would also claim the most impassioned presentation.
That was, to be fair,
that was the best one by a mile. Are we doing 4 and 4 again? Are we going to make this?
To be fair, I'm happy to continue.
I think we can bang on. We've only got however many more, like three more.
Yes. Wait, don't worry. John's will take a minute. I'll summarise the fuck out of everything he said.
Up next, we have James K. James, if you'd like to introduce your team.
Sit down. Nobody talk. Shut up. Shut up. Sit down.
Let's try to keep.
Nobody talk. Shut up. Sometimes you have to play football with passion. Some of the famous lines taken from Pep Guardiola during his 2018 Premier League season. I'm going to hit you with some numbers. Get ready for these numbers.
He just watched the Amazon.
Hey, shut down, nobody talk. I've lost the numbers. Most points in a season, 100 points. 100 points. The most ever calculated in a season. They were the first to hit 100 points.
Right.
Already the best Premier League team we've ever seen, but we're not finished. We're not finished. Most away points in a season, 50. Manchester City, 27-18. That's another fact for you. I'm just scrolling.
Who has the most home wins in a season?
What happened to question at the end?
Mourinho's Chelsea.
Questions at the end.
Mourinho's Chelsea from 2004.
Yeah, let's let James.
Sorry.
Most wins in a season. Manchester City, 2017-18. 32 wins.
It's a lot. It's a lot of wins.
A lot of wins.
It's a lot of wins.
Most away wins in a season. 16. Manchester City, 2017-18. It goes on. It goes on. I didn't fucking put this together very well, but it goes on.
No, this is perfect. Whatever you're doing, I'm fucking.
You don't have to do much.
So Dan,
hard as nails.
Dan, was your 04-05 was Mourinho's Chelsea? Yes, was the one you were going off. Yes. Okay. Did you know they didn't defeat all league opponents at least once that season. But do you want to know who did? Manchester City 2017, 2018.
They didn't beat Man City. Alas, but, happens.
Do you want any more fucking records? Because they just kept breaking them.
Yeah, carry on. This is great. We should do this for an hour.
I think that... most goals scored in a season. 106!
Oh my god.
2017-18, Manchester City.
That's a lot of cups.
Best goal difference in a season, 79. Manchester City 2017-18.
That's a lot.
So good.
Again, that's a lot.
So good.
What's that? 27 conceded. 27 conceded.
Surely this can't be argued. Right.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Did they lose the game?
Mate,
They lost 2 games. They lost 2 games.
Yeah, so it can be argued. So it can be argued.
Interesting. So that's not a record. That's not a record. Then, is it?
So to summarise, they hold the record of most points in a season, most away points, most points ahead of second, most wins, most away wins, most goals, best goal differences, and to top it off, most consecutive victories in 18, which is now shared with the current Liverpool team, granted, but Manchester City did it first. They also equalled the record for earliest Premier League title win, which I think is now Liverpool, so kudos.
Technically.
Well, technically, it is still.
And to be fair, this Liverpool also has the latest Premier League win as well.
They do. However,
they're not impressive.
I did some mathematics. Manchester City scored, on average, 2.7 goals every single game. Every single fucking game.
That's more than 1.4 goals for Dan's?
1.9, George.
1.9, sorry.
They conceded 27, which is not as good, but still good. Still good.
Way too.
That's a lot of goals.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
That's not Pep Guardiola.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Different manager. James is whacking out the impression at the minute. That's impressive. All over this shot.
Oh, just let me see who they lost against. But yeah, please, bring up fucking questions. Fucking at me. You can't sit here and say this team is not the best team to ever win the Premier League, the amount of records they've broken a season.
There's one in my head that competes, and we're not even discussing them. So
I have a direct quote here in anticipation of this team.
I hope it's from James.
And I will give 5 bonus points to whoever can guess who the quote is from. And the quote, I won't do an accent. Not that this person might not have an accent.
Got an accent.
I'm not giving it away.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Then Guardiola started his philosopher thing. I was barely listening. Why would I? It was advanced bullshit about blood, sweat, and tears. That kind of stuff. He's just a philosopher that got put in charge of some very good players. He didn't have a job to do. He did fuck all. They were already great.
Steady on now. Steady on, sunshine.
That sounds like the words of Fabian Delph to me.
No, it's not
like,
Fabian Delph.
It's not Fabian Delph.
Company.
What was that, Joe?
Zlatan.
God himself said that Pep Guardiola was a bullshit philosopher.
You're upside down.
And how
Yeah,
can
Joe's
you
upside
argue
down.
against
Joe's
God?
got upside down, mate.
I've gone upside down.
George, I'd like to respond to that by saying we're not talking about the man Pep Guardiola. We're talking about the team of Manchester City 2017-18, which broke the most Premier League records in a season ever. 2017-18 Manchester City. Also, Pep Guardiola inherited a Man City team that didn't do very well in this first half season. You cannot tell me and look me in the eye and tell me that he hasn't improved players like Raheem Sterling. Fucking KDB probably didn't need improving because he's fucking insane.
No, he did.
The first team he's ever managed that didn't win a trophy in a season for him.
Yeah.
Wasn't it half a season though?
It was a full season. He did
a full season first.
All right, but still, so to come back from that and then smash all the Premier League records he did meant he did a fucking good job.
He did
Or
good.
it was a fluke.
He did good.
No, because it wasn't, because then the next season happened as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it next year as well. That's not the point. I'm not trying to argue for this. You're chatting shit.
But did
I have
they
to
do
try
it
and
for
think of
3 years?
some things. No, they didn't do it for 3 years.
Yeah.
They ballsed it up on the third.
I've just got a question. Did he bottle every other championship to get those?
No, he didn't.
No.
Go on, hit me with.
No.
With
You'd
Two
expect
he
me
did.
to know this, wouldn't you?
Yep, that's
He
why
won
I'm
the
asking.
He won the Carabao Cup, James.
Stop giving him stuff. I'm trying to make him falter so he looks like a dickhead.
Listen,
He won the
it's 10
Carabao
to
Cup.
fucking 10. We've got to fucking get on with this.
He won the Carabao Cup. Thanks, Dan.
Which is why we should just be doing 4 and 4.
Yep.
I didn't make this decision.
But yeah, I'm happy to end it there because the amount of fucking records they broke, it's inarguable. Not
Didn't
end the
break
whole
some,
thing
though.
there, end my section here.
Oh, right.
Didn't break some records.
What record, Dan?
Least goals conceded.
Oh, well done. There's your one record. Have another fucking 5, 6, 7 records that got broken in a season.
And who broke those records, James?
2017-18 Manchester City.
Very good. Very good. I like that. I like that.
And also, fucking Pep Guardiola got the Barca job over Mourinho. Mourinho was a little bitch about it, but we'll talk about that.
He was a little bitch about it, and then he went and beat him in the fucking Champions League on the way to a treble. So, you know.
But they've both got the same amount of Champions League
I
now,
don't
don't
fucking know, bro. I don't fucking know. I've got nothing to say.
Listen, this is not about Pep versus Mourinho. It's not about Pep versus Mourinho.
All right, let's
Mourinho all day.
let's
Okay.
go on to.
Did
the
anyone
next
have
one.
any points
No.
aside from Zlatan Ibrahimovic's
No.
quote about the manager?
Joe?
I don't know.
Not even the manager.
Shit defensively. That's all.
No, I
I've
have a
got.
quick point about
Yeah.
the ugliness of Man City's kit. What the fuck is sky blue? That automatically
Have
rules
you
you out.
seen? Hold on, can I just? Have you seen our away kit for next season?
Yeah.
Listen,
I know,
I'm not.
Hold your L.
I know another record that they didn't. I know another record they didn't beat.
What?
The most fans in a season. Because they've got no fucking
got
fans.
7.
But that is so irrelevant to the team because at the minute, no fucking club has got any
No,
fans
I
in the
don't-
fucking stadium.
7
Therefore,
fans.
Liverpool won the league with no
That's
fans
a-
in the stadium.
That's a very separate point. Very
Absolutely.
separate point. People were allowed to go watch City, but just chose not to.
I'm happy to move on now. My point is made.
Can't have been that good of a team, or else people would want to go watch them.
He
you know?
mic dropped.
That
we have
really
to move
hurt.
on.
I pulled
James,
my
James, you
headphones
gotta
out.
pick up the mic,
Let's
mate.
go. Who's next,
You're
George?
gonna
Who's
have to-
next?
you're gonna have to
Up next we have Michael Peploe.
Yes! I'm looking forward to this one. Oi, all
Good luck.
honesty, I know I'm meant to be debating for myself, but this is the team that should win.
Good luck, Mike.
Okay. So,
5 minutes starting now.
all right. So, while listening to you guys, you've got a lot of stats, but this is just more from my personal position right now. This is
And not because you forgot.
No, that too, but nonetheless, I actually sat down and did some research on this.
Against the team.
Yeah, originally. Yeah, actually, that is the point. So, right. So,
Sorry, go on.
starting the season at 5,000 to 1 to win the league, we have the 15-16 Leicester City team. All right, 5,000 to 1. I will give you some stats right here now. They spent £34.38 million in the summer transfer window, compared to 77.31 million for Chelsea. City, 187 million, right? Which included the signing of De Bruyne, one of the best central midfielders in the country at the moment, you would say. And also Raheem Sterling, one of the best wingers in the country at the moment as well. United's 140 million. Spurs, as shrewd as they are, spent 63.9 million. And Arsenal, well, they're shit, and they only spent 12.6 million. But they went nowhere near to Leicester anyway, so it's fine. You have. I just want to go back just 1 year. They were rock bottom, 9 points, 9 games before the end of the season. They won a miraculous 7-9 to make the greatest escape in Premier League history. Let's not beat around the bush here. The greatest escape in English football history. And then they sacked Nigel Pearson, which, in a callback to Elijah, that is one of the worst fucking decisions ever. Probably the second worst decision, actually, because the first worst decision was then sacking Ranieri the season after, but nevertheless, that's not a problem. Jamie Vardy, once played for Fleetwood Town, broke the record for the most goals in a consecutive games. 11 games, beating Ruud van Nistelrooy, which was one of the greatest strikers in English history. Let's not deny about that. He was a great striker. Right? Riyad Mahrez, who'd heard of him? None of you heard of him. He came in with 11 assists, fucking smashed it, and 17 goals. He failed a trial at St. Mirren. That is how shit this guy was. And he came in and he revolutionised it all. 24 goals for Jamie Vardy in the entire season as well, coming only second to Harry Kane, who was having a banger season. Brought us N'Golo Kante, the best central defensive midfielder in the world. Can't say anything else because France won it with him. Brought us Jamie Vardy, who went into the England squad and banged goals for us as well. And obviously, the captain, the legendary Wes Morgan. Exactly. Thank you very much, Joe. And then obviously Riyad Mahrez, who is now playing for one of the best teams in the country. Okay. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, this was before this. This was before this. No, it was an underdog story. Ranieri fucking smashed it. 4 players in the PFA Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, BBC Sports Personality Coach of the Year. Ranieri fucking smashed it. That is my points. Who has questions? Go.
None. You win.
Yes, Alex. Thank you. I see you there.
Elijah had his hand up first. I can't. I got to admit that.
Elijah, you've got yourself muted,
Elijah,
dickhead.
you're muted, mate.
All I've got to say is, just because, in my opinion, just because it was the greatest personal in terms of the team achievement for Leicester, does not make Leicester the best team ever to grace the Premier League.
Fantastic point. Fantastic point.
Very good point. Very, very good point.
And that's all I have to say, to be honest.
They don't have enough history.
Alex?
I want to bring up 2 things. One is the word longevity, because you could say after that, so Leicester won the league. Not really a lot happened for them in terms of trophies, but they won it, and then they had a good run in the Champions League the next season. But in terms of the league, they lost that. The next season after that, didn't win the league there. Didn't win the league after that. Still haven't won the league, and only now are in 3rd. But even then, they're thrown 3rd away to a Chelsea team who still have Marcus Alonso at left back. Second one is what was it? The fact that everyone else was shit. Really? So it's kind of the best of a bad bunch. It's very easy to seem so good when everyone else is so fucking bad. I mean, the previous champions, Chelsea, came 10th. And hell, the challengers for fucking Arsenal at that time.
Tottenham, realistically.
And Tottenham. Yeah, Tottenham. There we go.
Tottenham was second for most of their league and they ended up coming 3rd.
Yeah, Arsenal came second by accident.
Just for that,
100%.
The top 5 for that season was Leicester, Arsenal, Tottenham, City and United.
That is like
what you'd expect,
unimaginable now.
Big teams up there.
And in 8th was Liverpool, 10th was Chelsea.
Actually, look at those squads as well and the form.
And last was Aston Villa as well.
What are you doing? Mike, you've thrown it away.
What a way to on your own points.
I'd like to echo Elijah's point. Just because something would feel good, don't make them the best. Stand that Leicester team up against any other fucking team that we're mentioning here, they get slapped off the pitch.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd like to echo Elijah and James's point. If you stand that Leicester team up against any other team that we've got here, they get slapped off the pitch.
Yeah. I'd like to echo George, Elijah, and James's point.
Which is?
I don't have anything more. I forgot. I just like echoing points.
Joe, did you have a question, or are you okay now?
Nah, it's cool now.
You okay?
You're right, Joe, mate.
Also, it's all well and good Jamie Vardy breaking that scoring record, but do you want to know who beat him for goals that season? Harry Kane did, but also Sergio Aguero. And do you want to know what team he featured in? 2017-18 Manchester City.
I actually said he got beaten by Harry Kane as well.
This is a different year, boys. This is a different year. They were the best team in the Prem that season.
Yeah, that was the thing I wanted to say. Like,
who cares about longevity?
You guys are mentioning all these other teams and bringing them up against but they like longevity and stuff. I don't think that matters. We're talking about what team was best, the best team of that season. Like that team.
I'm glad you brought up there, Joe.
Against any other team.
Yeah.
No, but we're talking about the best Premier League team ever.
Because that's going to come up in my argument.
They won 23, they drew 12, and they lost 3 games in the entire season.
Pretty good.
It's not really losing 2 though, is it?
Goals for was 68. Goals against was 36.
Oh, really cute.
Goals difference was 32.
Oh, adorable.
They won the league on that.
You got to bump them up.
That's mental. That would probably scrape you top 4 now.
They won the league on 82 points. 82.
That's mad. Do you know what? That makes it impressive That makes it impressive that they won the league on so few goals and conceded that many.
Everyone else was in a massive transition period.
Everyone else, was fucked.
Everyone else was so bad.
I mean,
Jeez.
to be perfectly honest,
Right.
I have put down the reasons why they did also win the league, but apart from that, that's fine.
I think they could have gone to the final in the Champions League. To be fair, I think they got really unlucky against Atletico.
They really did.
I know another team that got really
Great
unlucky against Atletico.
Why aren't we mentioning Esteban Cambiasso? That's what I want to know.
Shout.
Heartbeat of that team.
Shout. I just do think that you should.
Robert
you
Hook, Christian Fuchs.
I feel like you should put respect on their name because no one, Leicester, everyone probably backed them to go back down again. But
1,000 to 1.
I think that alone requires respect on their name, that they should be in the conversation.
For sure, they're in the conversation, and they deserve respect. But
that's about it.
I don't think it puts them in
the other teams.
Yeah.
No other team we're mentioning here has improved from the season before to the season we're talking about as much as they did.
I don't see why that's even a thing. Longevity.
That's a big deal.
The greatest.
Because
we're not talking about the great era.
Right.
But even
I brought it up because it's relevant to my argument.
Talking about longevity, it's Manchester United.
And if we remove the longevity and just focus on individual seasons, like a lot of the teams we've mentioned are still better.
Of course, no, I'm not saying that they're the best team.
Oh yeah, no, true.
They're not. I'm just saying that there's some respect that has to go in. One, for actually in the team.
For sure, it was a great underdog story.
Done so well, got more points than them, haven't won.
Right.
Arguably the best tactical team. Because it wasn't just let's throw our best players out there and they'll beat everyone anyway. Nah, mate, they had to actually think about how they were going to beat every single team, and they did.
They didn't beat Liverpool.
That's not, they beat everyone to the title. That's what they did.
They beat you man to the title.
I mean, that's what all of the teams have done in this conversation.
Yeah, every team has done that.
Yeah,
I suppose we should probably move on super quick.
Out, multi-million-pound fucking record-breaking signings. They're not throwing out fucking 600 grand in N'Golo Kante.
8-point-something million from OGC Nice, I believe.
Just real quick before we continue, is transfers that season? Is that going to be like a part of it as well in terms of who the manager bought and stuff like that? I mean,
I don't think that it needs to be a part of people's like argument. I thought that when I was obviously doing this, that was something that.
Yeah, you can argue whatever.
I really needed to put that forward because obviously Leicester are no money bags. They don't have the fucking the Saudi oil money or the Russian oligarch giving them.
Mike's getting assassinated next week.
But they used shrewd business and they got these players in and they won the league with it. You can't say anything else. But
I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah, it's respectable. Not the best.
Yeah, they did a brilliant thing against all odds.
Yeah, if you're going to,
are they the best Premier League team of the 21st century?
I agree with Joe.
It's one of the best stories.
It's the greatest achievement in the Premier League.
I'll happily go along with that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. Oh, cute. Right. Love Leicester. Let's go.
Beautiful.
Feel good. Who cares about the rest? End it there.
Finally, we have a contender here in the last slot, but by no means going to be the last slot in voting. We have Alex Heath.
Hello. So I've got the 07-08 United. Now I'm going to just reel off a load of shit. So manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably one of the best coaches who's ever seen. They were Champions League winners. They beat Barcelona in the semi-finals, about 2009 Barcelona, 2008, 2007, 2008 Barca team, which was fucking insanely good. Community Shield winners, doesn't really matter. It's just another trophy for them. Premier League winners, second of 3 in a row. No other team has done that. In fact, the only other team that has done that before was United. And still, no other team has done that. Not City Centurions, not Mourinho's Chelsea, and not the Invincibles either. No one has done that.
No, not the
And they won the Premier League, with only 87 points, but they came on top of Arsenal and Chelsea, teams that were both unbeaten at home that season, and they still came above them. Then we're going to talk about squad depth, right? The squad depth was unfucking believable. So first off, you've got in goal, you got Edwin van der Sar. yeah, I'll concede, not the best, maybe not the best goalkeeper of all time, but definitely like in the top three. You have Gary Neville, you have Patrice Evra in the defence, Rio Ferdinand, the main man, Nemanja Vidic, the fucking Terminator that man was. You have a young Gerard Piqué as well in there. And then in midfield, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't need to say anything more about that. You've got Michael Carrick. You've got fucking Nani, Scholes, Anderson, who at the time, I'll admit, like, I don't know how we rated him, but for some reason he worked. I don't know why, but he just did. Ryan Giggs, who was still fucking going. I mean, he was just sticking his dick anywhere as well. Park Ji-sung, Premier League legend. Then forward, we had Luis Saha, you had Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez, man. That combination was lethal. You even had Solskjaer was still there, and then a young Danny Welbeck, admittedly a very young Danny Welbeck, so he barely played. So, but still, he was there. So let's look at the stats for that. For just that season, just that one, they had the most wins with 27. Again, there are other teams here that have one more. Fair enough. Most goals scored in that season, 80. They held the record for the longest winning streak that season with 8 games. They conceded the fewest goals that season, 22. They had the most home wins that season with 17. They scored the most goals at home, 47. They conceded the least goals at home with just 7. Old Trafford was a fortress for them. You didn't win. The highest attendance they ever had was 76,013 people. Not that relevant, but still, I thought I'd put it in anyway. Chelsea's 85 points, in which they came second to Manchester United, was at the time a record for most points gained in a 38-game season without even winning the title. Same with Arsenal, who were in third place below them. Man United's goal difference of plus 58 was also a then record that was previously set by Mourinho's Chelsea. And they were tied in that season, tied with the most goals in one half by one team, which was 6 against Newcastle. Individual awards: Premier League Manager of the Season, Fergie; Premier League Player of the Season, Ronaldo, and that was his second in a row. PFA Players Player of the Season, Ronaldo. Football Writers Association Footballer of the Season, Ronaldo. Golden Boot, Ronaldo with 31 goals. And that was the first time since Alan Shearer, 12 years before, that someone had reached 30 or more goals. And the 31 goals mark would not be beaten for another 10 years when Mo Salah came to the Premier League and smashed it. LMA Manager of the Year, Ferguson. PFA Fans Player of the Year, Ronaldo. Premier League Merit Award, didn't even know that was a thing, but again, Cristiano Ronaldo. And the competition was high. Chelsea got 85 points. They were runners-up in the Premier League, in the League Cup, and in the Champions League. It was a dark season for us Chelsea fans. They lost less games than United and only lost 3. They had the second best defence and only conceded 26 goals that season. They took United to penalties twice, and United still had that fucking winning mentality to go, no, that's ours. That team had Cech, Ivanovic, Cole, Makelele, Essien, Carvalho, Lampard, Drogba, Ballack, Terry, Anelka. Then you had Arsenal in third place, managed by Arsene Wenger. In fact, they lost in the FA Cup to United 4-0. They got to the semis of the League Cup and the quarters of the Champions League. They had the second best goal difference. Adebayor, they had that team where he scored 24 goals. They had the second highest scoring, 74 goals. That team included, again, Fabregas, Gallas, fucking Van Persie, that young Walcott. And again, highest attendance was against Man United. And the same with, in fourth place, Liverpool. Convenient that all the highest attendances seem to be against Man United because they are a big fucking club. With Solskjaer at the reins, who knows? Anyway, so then you had fourth place, Liverpool, run by Rafa Benitez, Champions League winner. They League Cup quarters, Champions League semis for them. That was a season with Torres, with the blonde streaks, with the fucking long sleeves, the tape around his boots. When he came on, you knew it was game fucking over. They won the biggest ever Champions League win, 8-0 against Besiktas. They were the first Premier League team to score 100 goals in all competitions. That squad included Gerrard, Torres, Xavi Alonso, Carragher, Reina, Crouchy.
1 minute.
And yet United still were on top of all these teams. And that one season wasn't just a fluke. They'd won the Premier League the season before that. And also the season after that, in 08-09, they were the Premier League winners, Champions League runners-up, League Cup winners, FA Cup semi-finalists, Club World Cup winners. they edged Liverpool to the title 90 to 86 points. So they beat even more. They had the longest winning run of matches, 11 games. Ronaldo was 1 goal off top scorer. They had the most goals by one team in a single half. Five goals in one half. They had the most clean sheets. They had the most wins. Premier League manager again was Fergie. Premier League player of the season was Nemanja Vidic, another Man United player. 6 of the 11.
Alex, sorry to interrupt. Getting close to time. Did you want to?
I'm so close. I've literally.
Sweet. Carry on. Cool.
Yeah. 6 of the 11 PFA team players were United. 5 of the 6 on the shortlist for the PFA Player of the Year were United. They're the only team to win, the Premier League 3 times in a row. They've done it twice, and this was one of them. And along the way, they also won European trophies.
I think we can all say that the person who's done the most research here was Alex.
Alex and Dan.
I don't think you've heard John's yet, but
well,
yeah. Well,
it's tough to discuss because obviously
across 3 seasons is a big period of time.
My hand's been up. My hand's been up since halfway through. Whether you've seen that.
Sorry,
or not.
mate. We can't see you.
I put it in the chat. I posted it in the group chat. There's a picture of me in my hand.
Oh yeah,
you haven't got a camera, mate.
It doesn't matter. I posted it in the group chat. Point is, this is tough. This is tough because yes, it was an exceptionally good United team, and obviously we're doing 21st century teams because if we weren't, it's not even the best United team for the Premier League scene.
But
a lot of your research was on individual players, and we're discussing teams as a whole, like whether.
Did you not hear all the stuff I said about all the wins they had?
Yeah, but a lot of those records have been broken. A lot of those records have been broken since.
Well, yeah, just so long ago.
They
broke some of Mourinho's records.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's true.
There's nothing they can do if it's been about 12 years. 50. You know, obviously the records are going to be broken eventually. You know, it's been
that undermines their success if teams have broken their records years later and haven't won the league or aren't the best team in the league. Then it undermines what.
Yeah, but what I mean is like they're obviously going to be broken by teams that are coming after them. That's just how time works. Like there's nothing they can do. They can't just suddenly come back. You can't just get them and your Vidic playing in centre back and going
bang a couple more goals.
Let's fucking beat that record. They can't do that.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Alex.
With time, then back then, if you talked about it back then, and maybe a few years after that, that Man United team would have been in the conversation.
Well, yeah, because
now it's not even in the conversation.
Yes, it is. It really is. I mean, it literally is right now. But I mean, you can't really talk because you're trying to defend Conte's Chelsea that won the league once, and if you can look at both as a team, both as individuals, it can be beaten.
To be fair, though, we are looking at individual seasons. That's another point.
Yeah, If we are looking at individual seasons, they still fucking smashed it. But what I mean is, like, it clearly wasn't just a fluky season as well.
It very rarely was a fluky season with Fergie, though, was it? Like, Fergie was something else.
But that team, like, both down to manager and the actual players that are on the pitch, was unbelievable. It was stacked.
Fergie got quality out of anything, pretty much.
Anderson. Fucking Anderson. He has a Champions League medal. He has a Premier League medal. He has multiple Premier League medals. He has more than Steven Gerrard, for fuck's sake.
And he has a webcam.
And he does have a webcam. I bet he's got a good webcam as well. Anyway.
James, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I think it's already been touched on. It was all well and good reading off Ronaldo's rewards, but that's one bloke.
Yeah, it's difficult to argue against Ronaldo.
True. I mean, you can't really ignore it though.
No, you can't ignore it, but then
helps.
But then I like to feel that the records that I reeled off then trump all that because they're team records.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had 10 years head start, so.
10 years head start?
No, Fergie,
not head start.
Fergie...
Sorry. You had 10 years to break that.
Yeah.
And yet some records transcend time, like 15 goals conceded in a season,
or least points got in a Premier League. 15
dominant pretty
or not losing.
dominant record there that is
Things
not.
aren't about records like
No.
Anya being started.
Fuck
Yeah, or unbeaten seasons. Very rarely like those records transcend.
Or cutest manager.
Cutest manager.
Fergie.
Big Sean Dyche, mate. What are you talking about?
I actually have to agree. I think it's Sean Dyche.
David
Sean
Moyes. David Moyes.
David Moyes. David
No,
Moyes looked like the
David-
Grim Reaper, mate.
David Moyes
How
looks
the
like a
fuck is he
vampire from
cute?
Oblivion.
He
He
looks
looks
like
like
he's
he's coming.
more.
he looks like he doesn't
Sorry?
look each way before crossing the road.
This is not the point. The point
got cut off.
is
I got
United.
cut off. Let me
Away.
finish. Let me finish. Whenever West Ham play Crystal Palace, he looks like he's coming for Roy Hodgson to take him to the afterlife.
You ended
That
that
was-
completely
that was
at
the
the wrong
point.
time.
Hey, look, other people started
Also, at the
talking,
start of
so-
Alex's
up.
speech, he said like they came on top of everyone. Just wanted to reference that. I thought it
Yeah.
was very funny.
They probably did, to be fair, you know. Trophy in hand, just fuck the
I
rest of the
mean,
league.
It's tough because they're definitely one of the best United sides of the 21st century.
Yeah.
There's no
I just
denying
remember. I mean, personally, I just remember as a kid, they were one of those sides where you don't want to score a goal against them because it would goad them on. It would give them even more of a
They'll
reason
go
to
Yeah,
go at
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
felt that.
yeah.
I
Never
felt that with a
sat
few
back.
teams since though. I have definitely felt that with a few teams.
Yeah,
Uh,
but the first team probably would have been that United squad.
Well,
Joe?
probably United.
No, fuck
Joe's
it. I
just-
don't care
Joe's
anymore.
just died from having his hand up too long.
I don't fucking care anymore. Just fucking keep going.
Let's go. Right,
Alright.
George, we're at the end. All I'm going to
George,
say,
we're
I
at the
wanna
end. We've
just,
done them all.
just want to say one
Right,
thing, George. I
okay.
just would like to consider, you know, who talked about how the team plays tactically. You know, there's a lot
George,
of stats
George, have you done
thrown
this as
out. There
points?
weren't a lot of
Oh, Joe's gone.
tactics.
Joe's left.
Weren't a lot of tactics which made the teams. That's
There
all.
was.
That's all well
Um,
and good,
well,
Dan. But how many
I
records?
I think
Great. One.
fantastic.
I'd
I'd
like to say lots of stats out
Arguing
there.
from everyone. Brilliant points put forward. You answered questions very well. Conte's Chelsea, brilliant team. He did develop young players and made them great players in that season. Whether they've gone on to do better things since is a moot point because we're looking at that team in that season under that manager. Leicester, fantastic underdog story. One of the greatest, if not the best story for a team in the league ever. I don't think we'll ever see that repeated. Beautiful team. The Invincibles, it goes without saying, they have a gold trophy. Joe argued it very well in under a minute. The 3 key points, they were
That was
unbeaten.
impressive. That was impressive, to be fair.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was good.
They never lost the game. They only drew. They drew quite a few.
12, wasn't it?
12, something like that. But yeah, they were a fantastic team, brilliant Arsenal side that worked cohesively together. Mourinho's Chelsea. I have a soft spot for Mourinho. I do. I like him, especially that era Mourinho, where his bravado helped a lot. Klopp's Liverpool. What an achievement they had.
And do you know what? Just to add to this quickly, they're still going. Like
Yeah.
if they win the rest of the games this season, they've
Yeah.
got to be considered.
all those records Man
not
City have
going on-
got. All those records
No,
Man City have got.
I'm not trying to start another
later.
argument. I'm not trying to start another
Ready for
argument.
it.
I'm just making the
Love
point
it.
that they are still going.
Not in any
Yeah.
other competitions though, are they?
Klopp has done something
the
to that
Premier
team
League.
that
I'm not trying to make
best
any
team, Alex.
arguments. I'm just trying to make a
that
point.
no
on the
other
conclusion.
manager has managed. And for them, I know we say they're not tactically agile, and Elijah disagrees, but the fact that they only seem to play in a few specific ways, yet they still make it work for them. I think it's a testament to the strength of that team,
Yeah,
knowing their
definitely.
positions and knowing how they work as a team. Fergie's 07-08 United, winning 3 consecutive Premier League titles, unheard of, apart from for United. Yeah, Fergie did a lot for that team, and he's still loved. I think you may have noticed I've left the team till the end. I've not discussed. I think it, despite the fact Dan's argument was possibly the best for me, and it started swaying me. I loved Harry's presentation. But I think it's not impossible to argue against the achievements and the records that James, which team?
2017-18, Manchester City.
The records that they set and the achievements that they made.
Yeah.
It's what the beautiful game is, to see that. And I think even though they have no real fans in the real world, as fans of football, you look at that team and you're like, oh, it gives you a little bit of a tingle, you know? So for me,
Yeah,
the
100%.
deciding vote, because I am in charge of British football.
Fair.
The number one team for the 21st century in the Premier League for me is Manchester City 2017-2018. But you all, fantastic points. It was brilliant to talk to you again and see you all again. Thank you for listening to the Broke Show if you got this far, or if you're me on the drive to work. Break! Stop! Ah! Gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for listening to the Broke Show. I've been George, and these have been my friends. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, Jeff.
Hello, and welcome back to the Broke Show.
Harry's not got a webcam.
We just had this conversation.
Harry's got Motorola phone.
Where have you been? Just interrupting George.